Welcome to New Awakenings with Edgar Casey's A.R.E, where together through some incredible conversations, we go on amazing journeys of discovery that might shape the way you think about things and could even change your life.
Today we are absolutely thrilled to have our guest on the show. She is the Creative Movement Coordinator at the A.R.E's Movement Studio, A.R.E, where she integrates Edgar Casey's teachings with somatic movement. Now, she fully understands how movement and spirit are interconnected and mutually supportive, and she's here to share her wealth of knowledge with us. Welcome to the show, Nadira Grubbs.
Wow, that was quite an introduction. I hope I can live up to that.
Oh no, we're counting on it, Nadira.
Well, you're very fancy.
We're gonna have some movement and some spiritual movement. Don't worry, I'll give you something to take home.
Oh, sounds good. I love a take home.
And maybe she'll even teach you to dance.
It might be difficult with my ankle this time around, but next time for sure.
You can move in your spirit.
Yes, I do that all the time. Most of my exercises are the spirit, actually.
That's pretty much. He just is like, I'm moving, you can't see it, but look at me go. Well, I was here with you recently doing some work with the A.R.E, and for those who are unfamiliar with this, tell us what it is.
A.R.E is a movement space inside of the Edgar Casey Visitor Center here at the A.R.E. It's so lovely. We have a beautiful space, and this space is really the foundational point of the pyramid of the body, mind, and spirit. So this is about the body. It's about meeting people, meeting you, where you are, and moving from that place. And that's where we stand with yoga, with belly dance, with salsa, anything that gets the body life forces moving, that's where we are. And so we really consider ourselves to be a lot of people's introduction to the body, mind, and spirit connection.
Wow.
Body, mind, and spirit.
When she talks,
I know.
Flowing.
I
It's
know.
like really rhythmic. I'm totally hypnotized.
I gotta get right.
It did not work on my children when they were young, not at all.
Well, you've had more practice now.
Great. So why is movement so important for the spirit?
Well, the body, mind, and spirit are all connected. And Edgar Casey was really clear that the body is the temple that is housing the spirit. And so if your body is not healthy, if your body is in pain, it really inhibits your ability to connect with yourself mentally and to be able to connect spiritually. And so really having that base of your pyramid, your physical body being healthy and strong and able to move you through your life is how you're able to begin to foster those psychological and spiritual connections that we're all seeking as we're looking toward restoring our lives to a more peaceful place.
Oh, and that makes so much sense. You don't really think about that because you think you can just lay there or sit there and be, really spiritual and creative. But if you're,
can.
if your body's in pain, or if you're having any issues, that's gonna be like poking at you. You're gonna be thinking about that pain, or you're gonna be feeling it. So I'd imagine that would change your energy and inhibit your ability to really connect.
Yeah, no. And there's all the conversations of the energy, right? The chi inside of your body, and the movement actually helps move that chi throughout where it needs to go and that kind of stuff. So it is really important, actually. I tease about just sitting around and doing nothing. I mean, I tease about it. I don't do anything, but I tease about it. But it's super important. And if you're just focusing on spirit and mind, you're missing the third leg of the spiritual triangle, right? So it's really very important.
It is, and dance is such a fantastic way for so many reasons to really connect and to get your body in shape. Why is it that people just love to dance so much?
Well, me personally, so my training is actually, I'm a historian, and so people have always danced throughout time. They have always danced. They have always moved. But what we're finding now in this modern era, when we can actually study dance, is that when you are moving, especially in an expressive way, you're actually using your limbic system, and you're also using your prefrontal cortex. These are the areas of your brain that are also engaged when you pray. So you're getting this physical movement, but you're also enhancing and opening up those expressive and spiritual centers. This modern age is so exciting, isn't it?
I just got a little bit of goosebumps here. I totally did. Wow.
I'm also a nerd.
Hey, people.
We're in family then, yeah. But a really great point. For a long time, Native Americans used dancing for a lot of their ceremonies because they put them into that trance. The drumming got a movement. I mean, there's a lot of history that is tied with spirituality and movement. So that makes perfect sense. So how do you bring that concept to the REO?
So the way that we do that is we meet people where they are. Like, oh, you're here for a yoga class because your hamstrings are always tight and you love walking, but you find you have less days on the road and more days on the couch. Or you can feel how sluggish you are and you feel unfocused and you want to be able to focus a little bit more at work or focus more with your family. We meet people where they are and say, okay, here you are. Let's come into your body. Feel what it feels like to move. And that's when we start to come into somatic movement, because that's where we take physical movements. We're going to cue a pose for yoga. Maybe we're going to try a forward bend. Maybe we're going to try a two-step for a salsa movement. And then we talk about how does it feel to move your foot. That's called proprioception. And that's where you're starting to feel what your body feels like in space. It's a natural progression of moving. Every time that you're moving, you're feeling what your body feels like to move because of our connections with our neurons. So you're already doing it. We're just bringing attentiveness to it.
Wow, yeah, because you don't think about it. You just kind of go.
It's
Like,
a connection between your neuron. I don't just say leg move. I think leg move. What does it feel like for my leg to move? And then my leg moves.
So it's almost using the Eckhart Tolle power of now kind of philosophy, where be in the present moment and actually really experience every aspect of the present moment. Almost like a walking meditation or something.
It is.
Oh.
All of our movements are meditations, and that's where we bring our students to when they come in. So your body becomes physically healthier because you're moving those muscles. You're mentally becoming stronger because you're able to move inside and look within. And you're also raising those chi, those kundalini, that pineal gland. Those forces are also starting to open up because that life energy is moving.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just had that thought pop into my head when you see like the masses of monks and they're sitting and they're meditating, but they're moving, like they're going back and forth, and there's something about that rhythm. I don't know if like when I'm listening to something that's boring, I like to draw because it helps me focus. And I don't know if it's just the fact of moving my hand, but when I'm doing that, I can pay more attention to what they're saying. Right. So I wonder if that physically moving your body helps you focus more on your spiritual connection.
On your mental connection and on your physical connection. It's like it all kind of snaps into place when you have your body, your mind, and your spirit aligned. And so all of a sudden, your mental acuity is going to be so much stronger. You're going to be able to focus for longer periods of time and be able to think more creatively. You're also going to be able to access more information that you have stored in your brain already. And then you'll be able to also open up to your spiritual self. Because we all have a spiritual self. It's whether or not we're able to access it.
How did you come to realize the importance of movement in spirituality, you personally? How did you come to that realization?
So for me, it came through a lot of the study of the history of dance and the way that movement, before it was sort of codified into a style, was just movement. People had the rhythmic clapping of their hands, they had their voices to sing, and they had their bodies to move. And to what you were speaking about, that sway, there is, as we sway, there is something that's activated in us that helps us to be able to not only calm our nervous system down, but also to slow our breathing, which is a really key element as you come into meditation. So all of these things through my study, as well as I started my movement journey as a Middle Eastern belly dancer, and have had the opportunity to travel to Egypt to look at and study with the Sufi dancers, the whirling dervishes, and so that is has a religious element, but is a movement as well. And the movement, the swirling, the spinning of the whirling dervishes is how they connect to the divine. And so all of this study and movement together has sort of led me along to this path. And then, of course, the A.R.E, which has such a wealth of knowledge about spirituality, mental and metaphysical topics.
Wow, so I was in Turkey, and I actually, one of the things I wanted to see were whirling dervishes. I'm like, I've got to see the whirling dervish. And I went to this place, and they were whirling.
Isn't it amazing?
It's incredible. They just go for like ever, and they're just in the same. They don't. It's not like they're moving around like a top. You know, they just kind of stay in their same spot. I don't know how.
It's very hard to do.
It's-
I took some
yeah.
lessons.
Did
It,
you?
it was very hard to do. I was like, well, you know what? I'm here for the ride, and I'm really excited to learn. But really, it was about going within, and that you have a sort of a mantra, a prayer that you're using, and it's spinning up. Your prayers are going closer to the divine as you are spinning and creating this energy. And you don't have to be a whirling dervish to be able to create your own energy and spin your own thoughts and prayers up towards your higher conscious.
So this is where I'm hoping we can bring this back to the mind, because if I were to spin physically, I would completely pass out in 2 seconds. So can you build that up? I mean, there must be
Yes.
other ways that you can do that without having to throw up.
Yes, absolutely. I did not conquer whirling dervish whirling. I was like, I'm here for a good time, and thank you so much. I appreciate the information. But every time you move, every time you're walking, you'll find that people will say, oh my gosh, I get my best ideas when I'm running or when I'm walking.
Yeah.
And that is because of that mental connection. Because once you've connected with your body, you're able to quiet the noise that sort of constantly, that weird static in the background. And then those thoughts that are really important to you can come right to the forefront. And that increases your mental acuity.
It's really interesting because right before we started recording, I was sitting here pacing, and she's like, why are you pacing, Karen? She being
Yeah.
Karen. Why are you pacing? You're making me pace. Well, I was trying to remember my lines, how to introduce you, right? So I'm walking back and forth, and that's as I used to be an actor back in the day, and that's how I learned my lines, just by pacing, because it helps me to focus my mind and like you said, block out everything else and just focusing on what I'm supposed to say. That really helps out.
And it's interesting thinking about myself. When I get really emotionally upset, like when Christy died or something, and you're just sobbing, I notice that I'll start to rock, and that'll kind of calm me down. And so I'll even just kind of be, after I'm done with the crying, I'm sitting there for like, and I'm sure you've probably seen that and thought, I'm a weirdo, but
No, no.
but this also happens. Speaking of being kind of weird, the other night I fell asleep. We were watching TV. I was watching TV in bed. And movement is such like a part of, we used to go dancing all the time. It's such an important part of who I am anyways. And I woke up, but what woke me up was that my foot was moving to the rhythm of a song that was on TV while I was sleeping.
Okay, now that's weird.
That is weird, isn't it?
No,
I'm
that
like,
is totally
what the
normal.
heck? It freaked me out. I'm like, because it wasn't me doing it.
Your body was resting, and it had a little dance in there.
It was so weird.
Yeah, it's a story of Karen's life. Had a little movement in it. Have a little dance in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So and same thing. It's just for clarity. When I'm doing this, is because I have to go to the restroom.
That's more of a sideways thing. I like it.
Well, children do that as well. Babies do that to soothe themselves. You see babies that they'll rock back and forth, and it's a way that they soothe themselves. This is a way that we as humans have developed to be able to manage the stressors of our life. So coming into that with just a little bit of mindfulness from a yoga class or a dance class of any kind is just so meaningful for our whole lives.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're here at the Casey Center, and I know that, I understand that Casey did speak about dance. Was it more as an exercise to keep your body healthy, or was it more about a spiritual connection for him?
Well, it was about both. So he had over 14,000 readings, and about 11,000 of them are about physical health topics, because he really strongly believed, and we see the evidence, that you have to have a body that is healthy in order to have a mind that is strong and a spirit that is open. And so he really wanted to foster that connection in all of the people that he interacted with. And so a lot of the readings are dealing with what kind of nutrition you would want to have in order to have a healthy body, how you need to move. We have Casey stretches that are specific, that are allowing you to just stretch and move your body and start to come into your body and your physical self. And of course, some meditation and breathing techniques that are very, very easy to allow you to sort of calm your mind and be able to access your spirituality.
I mean, her voice is so soothing. I'm having a hard time thinking that I can't imagine watching you dance because I feel like it would just be like.
It's very exciting. I'm a very exciting dancer.
That's a very good point, because you are very calm and soothing and wonderful. And yet, a lot of times when people think about movement or dance, it can be kind of frenetic. We talked about the whirling dervishes, right, for example. What kind of movements can someone expect when they come here? Is it more flowy, or is it more like, wow?
So just like you described, there is a length and breadth of possibility with movement. All of them are good for our bodies. We have, in belly dance, we have our shimmies. And that shimmy is kind of a frenetic movement where you're moving and you're relaxed, but you're really bringing up a lot of energy and your heart rate is rising, which is so good for us. And then you have other movements that are more subtle and more soft and more flowing that allow us to sort of breathe and come into that space. And so there is place for all of those movements, and we meet you wherever you are.
Now I know why I break danced when I was back in my youth, because I just flew.
Oh, that was pretty good. You still need a little bit of break dance. Wow, okay.
You got a blue
boy over here.
Work, but, you know,
We'll get the cardboard out.
Ankle, but, you know.
Oh, no.
I think you got to come on, get on.
No one wants to see that.
You guys are so natural. I'm like, yeah, you're such a b-boy. I'm like, wait, I'm in a podcast interview. Let me sit down.
You're totally good. This is very relaxed. You are at home right now.
I love this.
So, we're talking about whirling dervishes and what you're doing here. And is there a type of dance that can give you like a better connection? Do you have to be a whirling dervish, or can you be out there two-stepping and still get the same connection?
Two-stepping, you can be one-stepping, you can be sitting in your chair and rocking back and forth.
Now I rock that.
Anything that gets you moving, that gets the body starting to connect, is when we start to engage with that feeling of, okay, this is what it feels like to move, and what does that feel like inside my body, and start to connect with ourselves again.
Now, what about those people who say, oh, I can't dance? Those people. The people who say, no, I got two left feet, I can't dance. Come on, fun. No, you're not gonna see me on the dance floor. What do you say to them?
If you can sway, you can dance. If you can rock, you can dance. If you can step, you can dance. If you can walk, you can dance. If you can roll, you can dance. This is the part about life. We're moving in some way, even minute movements. And so, of course, we're dancing.
So maybe we found the title of the episode. You can dance. Exclamation mark.
I just picture some people watching this and hopping on the floor and rolling around.
But you can move. We can all move. And, you know, we all have to move our bodies in some way. Sure. We know that sedentary is the new sort of smoking in our lifestyle. So if you need to move, you have to move in order to stay alive. Why not dance?
Right.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It really is.
But that's a very good point, that you don't have to have rhythm to move. My brother's got terrible rhythm. Sorry, Rob. Sorry, Rob. But he gets up there, and even though he doesn't have rhythm, he still shakes it.
And I hope that Rob keeps shaking it. Because all of our bodies have to move. You know, it's just like if you haven't had formal training as an artist, then you're not an artist. But that's not true.
That's
right?
I was gonna say that's true.
If you haven't gone to, Juilliard, if you haven't gone to a fancy dance school, then you're not a dancer. Well, that's not true.
You're not a trained dancer.
Yeah.
You're not a trained artist.
But we're all dancers. We're all artists. We're all creating movement within ourselves. If you're not a yogini who can put their leg behind their head, then you're not a yoga practitioner.
Ouch.
That's not true at all. I do yoga every day for my health and flexibility, and I can't do any of those things. But am I still a yoga practitioner? Absolutely.
Yeah, those things, just thinking about them.
You
make me,
still have your leg. It'd be stuck there forever.
yeah, but literally just thinking about it, I just sprained my ankle. So I'm not at all flexible, like at all. Like I broke my ankle, and now I'm doing physical therapy, and they're saying, go ahead and flex. And they're like, oh yeah, you must have done a really bad job. Let's see your other foot. Doesn't go any lower because I'm not very flexible.
It's not.
So yoga, thank you for stressing that.
I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Being supportive. Not flexible.
So I'm not flexible at all. So yoga has always been very difficult for me because of that part. Now, I understand probably if I started doing yoga at 4, I wouldn't be this non-flexible now. However, it's too late for me now.
Is it though?
But that's where I was going. It's too late for me personally because it's difficult for me and my bones will break if I try to flex them or stretch them in certain directions. So someone like me who is super inflexible, is there any gateway into yoga where it doesn't put me into physical distress?
We actually have a class for you. I feel like I'm selling a used car, but it's health. It's health and spirituality, because we actually have a stride and stretch yoga class that is for runners, that is for walkers, people who are cyclists, people who are moving. And a lot of times what you'll find is that your hamstrings and your lower body will get very, very tight. And also if you're sitting a lot, maybe for work, you find that your hips will get very tight. And so a lot of times when I hear the word inflexible, or when I hear not very mobile, what I'm really hearing is that I've not lubricated my body in a way that accesses that for me. And that's where we come in, where it doesn't matter where you are. We are not expecting yoginis, and that's a bit of a misnomer. So of course, in America, we'll take something and do it to the extreme. Mm-hmm. Yoga is taught a lot in schools for children in India. It's not something that's, people are, doing an exhibition where they can show exactly how flexible they are. It is something that is really done for health and to help increase that mind-body connection, because the breathing, the pranayama, the meditative aspect of yoga is actually the point.
Right.
The physical postures are bringing you to a little bit of mindfulness that allows you to connect with yourself, a little bit of breathing that allows you to raise your energy, and a little bit of openness that allows you to connect with your higher self.
I did not know that.
It's so interesting because Western world, when you talk about yoga, it's an exercise class. Go to the YMCA down the street, they got yoga class. It's an exercise regimen.
Yeah, I'm like, it's for flexibility.
But it's more of a spiritual practice, because yoga in and of itself does not mean stretching exercises. Yoga is a way of life. It's a totally different, and it's not just the poses. There's yoga where you just lay on the mat and meditate, and you tense muscles and you release them. There's all different types of yoga, but yoga, the way we're talking about in terms of movement, it does bring you into energetic alignment, and the poses will help you to release pent up energies. See, I know stuff.
Look at you knowing about yoga.
Well, I actually think he is ready to go from stride and stretch yoga right to our mindful yoga class. We have a yoga for mindful living in the modern age. Ooh. And it's not a lot of intense poses or stretches or anything like that. It's really about setting ourselves into a mental place to be able to maybe block out some of the technological distractions, or even how to use technology to be able to have a better meditative practice for ourselves.
Now we're talking. This is something that an inflexible guy can actually do. The type of yoga that's just for me.
Yoga for mindful living.
Mental flexibility. Because I think you're so set in that you're not flexible, that you're less willing to, subconsciously willing to let yourself flex.
Well, I'm perfectly.
That sounded good.
It sounded very in the flow. It sounded very in the flow, Karen. I'm here for it.
I'm
flowing.
I'm absorbing.
And that is the yoga of Karen.
I love that.
So I think I am. I'm going to try to be more flexible mindfully, and maybe come and visit the A.R.E. Yes. If someone wanted to do that, what's the best way to learn about what kind of classes you're teaching or movement that you're offering?
Well, fantastic thing to ask. You don't say. And first, I want to talk about our open house. September 21st, we are having the Open Door Open House. So one of the tenets in A Search for God, which is an A.R.E. press work, is the open door. And the open door speaks to the fact that the universe is always ready to align with us if we will only step through the door. And so the Open Door Open House is about stepping through that door, putting your feet on the path. And we will be there September 21st, and we will be covering 30-minute classes. You can sample everything in Yin Yoga, which is a restorative yoga. It might be a great yoga class for you. We'll have that stride and stretch, which will actually start with a beautiful walk around the A.R.E. campus, a little something for our runners and walkers. We'll also have a Global Beats belly dance class to get us moving a little bit.
That's the one I want to do.
So, and we'll be ending with a meditation prayer for peace in our meditation garden. So we have like a really fun time. It's going to be from 10 to 12. So a perfect little slice of a Saturday to come and move and come into yourself and share some fun times with other people.
That sounds awesome.
It does. Now, do you have to be a member to be able to come to the A.R.E.?
Not at all, not at all. This is really, we want people to just come in. This is a community center, and we are a community because we're all movers. We're all living in these bodies at this time. We're all having this physical existence, but knowing that we're spiritual beings. And so all of that together means that we're all together here. So come in and join us.
Right.
That's great.
And you might just want to then become a member. Just putting it out there. Once you come and visit and experience it for yourself, there's all kinds. This is just one aspect of the Edgar Cayce A.R.E. that is so wonderful that it's offering to membership and non-members alike.
Yeah, members and non-members, and we also have retreats. So if the weekly is a little bit harder for you, we're actually going to be hosting a retreat January the 11th through the 13th, and that is going to be the Restore, Release, and Realign, and it's a somatic movement retreat where we're going to be covering how to restore yourself, especially after the busy year, how to realign yourself, and then how to manifest all of your goals for the coming year.
That sounds wonderful.
So how can people find out about all these things?
And do they need to
and
register?
keep themselves in the know?
So you can go to edgarcayce.org and you will look on the events tab and you will see A.R.E. Studio. You can also find us at areomstudio.com, and you can get a free class if you come and sign up on our website.
There
Great.
you go. Now, if you had any excuse before, you no longer, it's all gone. So wonderful. We're going to add those links to the show notes. Hopefully people will see this and be completely inspired to reach out and start
hope so.
visiting the A.R.E.
Yes, I know I'm inspired.
But you were inspired from the get-go.
I just want to sit here and listen to Nadira talk.
I know.
I'm just like getting into the mode. I'm like,
Dear, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your
this is
wealth of
lovely.
knowledge and experience with us.
You guys are wonderful. I hope I get to spend more time with you guys. You're so engaging, and I can tell you're also nerds.
We are big
Absolutely.
nerds. You have no idea, but no one's doing this. All right. Thanks so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
That does it for this episode of New Awakenings with Edgar Cayce's A.R.E. If you missed any part of this or any of our other interviews, all you need to do is go to edgarcayce.org/resources. Scroll down the page, you're going to see all the episodes laid in there directly for you. Super easy to find us. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you again on the next New Awakenings with Edgar Cayce's A.R.E.